was high in the sky over the hills of Galilee, casting golden light across the landscape. Jesus and his disciples had sailed across the Sea of Galilee, hoping for a moment of rest. But their presence did not go unnoticed. Crowds from nearby villages and towns, eager to see him, hurried on foot along the shoreline. Some carried the sick, others led children by the hand. And many came simply to listen to his words of wisdom. When Jesus stepped onto the shore, he was met with thousands of expectant faces. The people had journeyed far, their bodies weary, their hearts yearning for hope. Moved with deep compassion, he welcomed them, walking among them, touching the sick, and healing their ailments. The sound of his voice carried across the grassy hillside as he spoke of God's kingdom, of love and faith, and of the eternal life that comes through him. The hours passed, and the sun began to dip lower in the sky. The disciples, seeing the great multitude, grew concerned. They knew the people had not eaten. Many had come from distant villages and had no food with them. Whispering among themselves, they approached Jesus, suggesting he send the crowd away so they could find something to eat. But Jesus had a different plan. "You give them something to eat," he said. The disciples looked at one another, uncertain. They had no supplies to feed such a massive crowd. Philip calculated that even half a year's wages would not be enough to buy food for everyone. Then Andrew spoke up, bringing forward a young boy who held a small bundle in his hands. He had 5 small barley loaves and 2 fish, hardly enough to satisfy even a handful of people. Jesus smiled and took the boy's offering. He told the disciples to have the people sit down in groups on the lush grass. The crowd settled, their eyes fixed on him. Holding the bread and fish in his hands, Jesus lifted his gaze to heaven and gave thanks to God. Then he broke the loaves and fish into pieces and handed them to the disciples. Who moved through the crowd, distributing the food. A miracle unfolded before their eyes. No matter how much was given out, the food did not run out. People ate and ate, passing the bread and fish among themselves, marveling at how there was always enough. Laughter and joy filled the air as they feasted, the worries of the day forgotten in the abundance that God had provided. their fill, Jesus instructed his disciples to gather the leftovers. Moving through the crowd, they collected the remaining pieces and filled 12 baskets, far more than what they had started with. The people were astonished. They whispered among themselves, their voices filled with awe. "Surely this is the prophet who is to come into the world," they murmured. As the evening descended, the crowd sat in quiet wonder. They had come hungry, and Jesus had fed them, not only with bread and fish, but with the truth of God's love. The miracle was a sign showing that in the hands of the Lord, even the smallest offering could become something great. And through faith, the impossible was made possible.